All right, I think we are live now. It's Shooter. How's everyone doing? Hope everyone watched Hard Knocks because that's what I want to talk about. But let's see if we can get some people to join us here and see if you guys want to hear the whole story. Eventually, you're going to hear the whole story of Hard Knocks. Overall, I thought it was a good episode, a deep ending. They ended it by cutting Aguayo. Felt bad for the guy, but he needs to learn how to kick. And that's what Cutter told him. He's got to be consistent. And it's funny because at the beginning of the game, both kickers were missing kicks in practice. Like they highlighted them being horrible in practice. And then they turned around and talked about him being a little bit better in practice. Don't want any spoilers. You're going to have to shut it down. But you can come back and watch later. I'm just messing around with my little animated guy here a little bit too. Started off with them talking about kind of how hot the weather was. A hot weather montage, if you will, which was pretty interesting. I don't think it really hit deep enough so people that don't live here really understand how brutal the heat is this time of year. But I mean, there was a lot of sweat going on in that first segment. And then they kind of jumped into this wide receiver basketball talk session. So you had Mike Evans and Deshaun Jackson talking about basically LeBron at first. And it's funny because Mike Evans must have, I think he was a basketball player first and then kind of came to football late. But you can tell they both like basketball. And one's a LeBron James fan, and it seems like Deshaun Jackson doesn't have that much love for LeBron. But that was interesting. I like thinking of Mike Evans as a basketball player. He's gonna have a sick year. Let's see, another funny part. If anyone watched it, chime in with your favorite part. Let's see, when McCoy was kind of going over his celebration and he started doing this dance. That was kind of funny. So it was a very thrusting type dance, but it was more all on the knees. It was a dance, and he asked one of the refs that was there if it would be a penalty, and the ref basically said it's a gray area. So is it a penalty or not? I guess we're going to find out because eventually I'm sure he's going to try to do his dance, but I don't think it's a penalty. Especially if they lighten the rules. I mean, I think you're allowed to dance now. And really, he was dancing, but he's an interesting dancer. The other thing I like that they showed was Jason Holfish's cleats that he makes McCoy. He's got a whole set of, I think he how does he do this? Like spray paints these cleats, but he had the Hulk ones on. The other thing I liked when they were showing the receivers was when it was Evans and Jackson kind of practicing covering each other, and Jackson was struggling to keep up. I thought that was pretty funny. They're like running routes together, and Evans is telling Jackson to run a little faster, and by the end, Jackson's all tired. What else happened? Oh, my favorite part. This is my favorite part. Robert McClain, who came over. I guess he played for a bunch of different teams. They went into how he's an artist too, so he can draw. So I need to get him over here to draw some Shooter in the Stash cartoons, but he's a much better drawer. He draws like legit. It looked like comic book type stuff. So I just added him instantly on Twitter tonight. I want to check out some of his stuff. Oh, Cody, we do. Actually, we don't do it every post game for the Lightning, but we've done post game shows in the past. Not as much on Facebook, but we used to do them on this show called Blab, or it wasn't a show. It was just it was like an online website, but it's not even around anymore. You could have 4 video feeds at once. Yeah, it's a good episode, man. Good episode. It's good to see like the insider's view of these guys and kind of what they do. Like they talk a little bit about McCoy and how he loves Batman. So we've been putting out this picture series this month leading up to week 1. And the next one, I'm going to have McCoy as Batman. And it's actually going to be the whole Justice League. They showed Joe Dirt again. Joe Dirt is like the star of Hard Knocks pretty much. It was funny they showed his family and his mom doesn't like the nickname Joe Dirt. Drew, what was your favorite part? And then Roberto at the end. What'd you think about that? Oh, thanks, man. Roberto at the end, though, it was a sad moment in Bucks history when they had to. I mean, who would have thought? We drafted him last year, and he's not even going to play this year for us, at least. But he had to go. You got to make some kicks. I used to be a kicker, actually, when I played football. And I think I could kick better than Roberto. I don't know what happened to that guy, but, I mean, he was good in college. Yeah, when Jameis called out the offensive line, that was some tough love, man, on the sideline. Uh, those guys, they felt bad as soon as he came up to them and started yelling at them. Yeah, it kind of ended on a somber note there. Actually, no, they picked it up because what they did again was they had him talking about Game of Thrones at the end, and then they snuck in that kind of like Chick-fil-A thing. So they're talking about like how great it is and how nice everyone is at Chick-fil-A. But yeah, more Game of Thrones talk. They all love Game of Thrones. I've never seen an episode in my life. There was a moment when Quan got yelled at that I thought was pretty interesting because I guess he was holding someone and Cutter starts yelling at him, "That's a hold. Come on, you can't do that." And then Cutter yells at him that you just lost the game for us. I'm thinking a defensive hold's usually only a 5-yard penalty and a first down, but I guess that could be a game losing situation somehow. But Dirk, I mean, Dirk comes off as a really good coach. Jason comes out as a really good GM, and you can see that in the end where they really care for Roberto as a man. But, it's football. But yeah, not enough Tampa Bay stuff in this. I thought I heard Joe Bucks fan. The stick carriers were definitely represented. You heard them. They didn't mention them. They showed that thing where Jameis was kind of coming out of practice where he jumped up, which was cool. And that's it. Those were like my favorite parts. Jason Holfish was on there. Tampa Bay artist with the Hulk cleats I mentioned earlier. That was cool. And I really like how Mike Evans and Deshaun Jackson seem to really have some chemistry together. They seem like they're becoming good friends. And even there was some preseason like on the field type footage between like Jackson and Jameis where they're trying to work it out. He's like, lead me a little bit on that pass. So that was cool to see. I think that offense is really coming together. I wish they showed some more of the rookies. Like OJ Howard was pretty much his first time where they just interviewed him and Evans and one other rookie, and it looked like a hotel room. So I don't know if the rookies are going to be on that much if they just got that little hotel segment tonight. But I guess we'll see what happens. We're going to kind of find out everything that happens with the Bucks in the next couple weeks, and hopefully it's nothing too crazy. I think that's it. I don't know. Let's see. My favorite part of this episode, I thought the McCoy dance was pretty funny, and him asking the refs if that's going to be okay, because that's something that's going to be interesting to watch this season is what kind of celebrations they're going to be able to get away with. And I think it was Hercules, the ref that's like jacked up that the Bucks must have had at practice because he was asking him about it, and he said it was a gray area. So I don't think they know what they're gonna call, because I mean, really, he was just dancing. It was a dance move. A lot of McCoy, a lot of Jameis. Probably the one thing I think we're still missing a lot of is Quan Alexander. Hasn't been on all that much. He's eventually going to get on. I still think they're going to show Stevie T, since they had that off-season story about he kind of lived out of his car for a while. So I got to imagine they'll spend some time with him and talk about that. And I guess the rest is just going to play out. Oh, you know what was another funny part was they kind of started off talking about Brent Grimes, and they did an interview with Miko. It's funny because Miko just talks the whole time, and Brent Grimes is kind of just sitting there in the back, just listening. and Miko's kind of saying some funny stuff, like, Brett talks so much shit. That was pretty funny. But they were talking about, like, how he's like an ageless wonder, and, you know, he keeps getting better with age. And I'm thinking the whole time while they're saying this, like, he gets hurt. Are they not going to cover that? And so eventually they got around to it, about him, you know, getting hurt. But it seems like it's not a serious injury. It seems like it's more of like a gruesome cut or something like that. They showed like a picture. I had never really seen that before. It looked like he just kind of got cut by someone's cleat, maybe. So hopefully, I mean, the Bucs are going to need that guy to stay healthy, and hopefully he has hit the fountain of youth, like they said in the show. But that's it. I talked about all the parts that I want to talk about. It was a good episode. It was fun. Probably be back next week. Probably live. I wanted to mess around with this character a little bit, and I probably did not do that enough. So come back next week after Hard Knocks, and we'll talk about it some more. And we got some new videos coming out real soon. If I can get to 100 subscribers on YouTube, go to my YouTube, or go to YouTube and search Shooter in the Stash. I want to get to 100 so I can get a custom URL on YouTube, and post more videos on there. So go check it out. Thanks for following us, and we'll see you next Tuesday, hopefully.